Hello and welcome to episode 47 of the Indie String podcast. I'm your host, Kay, also known as Indie String on Ravelry, Google+, Facebook, and Instagram. So come over and friend me on any of those, and I would love to see what you're knitting or crafting of any kind, really. So if you're a regular viewer, I want to welcome you back and thank you to anybody that's checking me out. This is a kind of a different location and also a different episode. I have so much to tell you that I think that I'm probably going to have to do it in a two-parter, so over 2 weeks. With my hosting company, my files can only be so big, so it's about a 30-minute max for me, maybe 40 if I really want to stretch it. So what's going on is that usually there's a big thing behind me, a chalkboard, and then I got a sign and I'm falling down. So my husband is actually adhering my sign permanently to the frame, and so that's down, so I thought I'd move over to a different corner of the room. This episode, I will be drinking Nikasi and a seasonal ale. So this is a brewing company that's actually in the Eugene area, and I've never tried it. What is it called? Seasonal Release, Belgian Style Golden Pale Ale. Good. Although, this is like a gigantic beer. Gigantic. 6 ounces. I don't know if I'm able to finish it. We'll try. Alright. I hope you guys have been doing wonderful. A little bit of a recap. It's summer. It's hot here. It usually doesn't get so hot in Oregon, and they've been breaking almost every single day the records. But today has come down to, 86 degrees, so it feels really nice. My daughter is in Michigan, and she calls me, or I call her every day, and she tells me she's having the best time, and I'm so excited for her. And my husband is gone for 3 weeks, a few weeks in Michigan, and then he's traveling for work. So I am all alone, and it's a little weird. The house is so quiet. And I forgot what it's like to be alone. Like only yourself to take care of. You don't have to get anybody ready in the morning. No one's asking you where their socks or underwear are. It's like magical in some ways. Although it's starting to get a little lonely, so hopefully it goes by quickly. And, tomorrow, I'm recording this on Sunday. Tomorrow's work, so I'll have to do that 8 hours a day. Okay. A story. I dropped my daughter off at the airport, and she's about to go into the line of security, and I don't stand there and wait the whole time because the line at PDS is quite long. Typically, it takes about 25 to 30 minutes to get through. And I hugged her, and I'm like, "You know how much I'm going to miss you?" She's like, "Yeah, I do. But I got a great idea." And I'm like, "What is it?" She goes, "Maybe you could work." I'm like, "Yes, that's right. I do nothing when you're here. I just sit on the couch. So when you're not here, I'm actually going to, push myself and work." But it was such a cute thing for her to say, and I was like, "I will endeavor to try." She's like, "Okay, I'll see you later." She was so excited to get on that plane and leave, and I know it's because she loves my mom's house, and she loves seeing all of her aunts and cousins and spending this summer with her family. So can't blame her on that. So what have I been knitting? Quite a bit. I have a finished object, but it's a sweater. So I'm gonna wait probably until the next time. Hopefully I'm in a different space and there's more room to show you. So I'm just gonna go on about what I'm actively knitting. And I realized as I was deciding what I was gonna knit and what I was gonna show you that I have an unholy number of projects right now in the needle. This is not to say that I'm not going to have something on because I totally already have something planned. But when I started knitting, I would have one project, and then I remember trying to do 2 projects at once, and I thought it was just way too much. Way too much for me. And I couldn't do it. And I kept on trying to do multiple projects and then just putting them down. And then finishing one, and then picking up the one that I had cast on and finishing that one. And I was like, I'm always going to be a single project knitter. I'm never going to knit multiple things. How wrong you are! How wrong! Because I have so many things on the needles, it's kind of crazy. So I have to, I want to kind of focus this summer maybe and try to get at least some needles cleared off. So the first thing I'm working on, and which is almost done, is the Arrowhead shawl. I think it's by Elisa, is it Plummer or Elisa P? I know that for sure. And I'm in the middle of the row, which really doesn't help you guys. But I'll just show you the top maybe. This is out of Indie String Worsted in the P&L Copper colorway. And, oh, that's what it looks like in real life. So I have finished all the motifs of the arrows here. And I am now on to the actual end. What I mean by that is I just finished the last motif row here. And then there is about 8 rows of stockinette, and then there is a garter edging. This has been a fun knit. It is quite relaxing. If you're new to charts, it's probably pretty good. It's knit and purled only. So that, well, there's increases in yarn overs, but the charts themselves are only knit and purl. And also there is a lot of area in between that is just stocking knit in between the charts. So that is pretty nice for me. It was a very relaxing knit. And the instructions were good, and I did enjoy it, and I love this colorway. So this colorway is one of my favorites. I really like grays with different colors and different pseudo-neutrals. I wear that a lot in my wardrobe. I'm not a person that wears all black, and I do like color, but I usually pair color with a neutral. And most of my accessories are pretty neutral. I don't know why, but I like. So let's try to get you this. That's pretty good on my monitor. The brown isn't as washed out. It's a warmer, deeper brown. But you can see the contrast there between the gray and the brown, which I really enjoy. And back here, it's more of the right color, but all you can really see is brown when it's this far away. So hopefully I'll have that done. I'm picking this up and finishing this right after I finish the next thing, which went on hiatus last night. So I have been knitting the Mystery Knit Along with Gundren, isn't it? Johnson? And this is the first Mystery Knit Along that I have ever done. I really like her style. It's simple and pretty classic. And I think that a lot of the things that I've knit that she has designed have carried over through the years. And that's kind of what I look for when I'm looking for a knitting pattern. And so for me, I thought it was a really good opportunity for a designer that I really, really liked that was doing their first knit along that I would go along with everybody. And so I bought the knit along and have been steadily working on it. And I decided to knit it out of a really tiny breeder. And it was alpaca, 100% alpaca, a 2-ply sport weight. And I had 150 yards more than the medium style called for. And if you think to yourself, why is she telling me that? And I will tell you because I ran out. So I should have checked my gauge. There's no excuse really for it. I'm a seasoned knitter. I should have checked my gauge, and I didn't. And so at this point, I am on the edging, and I ran out. So I don't know what to do. I will show you, if you are knitting this and want to be surprised, please look away, but at this point, all the clues have been released in the finishing, and the final pattern is available. So I know I've seen lots of completely finished objects on Ravelry, so it shouldn't be a gigantic surprise. But give me, like, fast forward 3-4 minutes if you don't want to see it. Now, okay, so this pattern started with this center V here, which is great. I love this. I love the way the pattern worked up, and I really like how textural it is. So this is her normal format in which you knit the center if you've knitted any shawls from her, and then you pick up and you get that really nice right here crossover eyelet row, and then you work this with clue 2 down with really nice garter stitch with twisted stitch columns, and then this right here you pick up again and you knit on a border. Well, I guess you're not picking up all the stitches, you're knitting on the border and binding off at the same time. And so this is the border. So that's what that looks like. I got to the last 2.5 repeats of the border, and I knew I was going to run out. It wasn't, I just didn't know what I was going to do. I don't have any other 2-ply, 3-ply, 100% alpaca yarn in my stash. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. So what I tried is the only 100% 2-ply alpaca I have in my stash. I have a really chocolate brown, and I had a really dark gray. So I tried the gray. So this is how much more I needed. It's not very much. The other problem is that I bought the alpaca yarn from a breeder at a wool show that wasn't at any wool shows that I could find, and I don't even know if I can buy their yarn anymore. And she was tiny at some little stall in the barn, and I probably bought it 5 years ago at least. And so I'm not holding out hope. I can't decide if I like what I did. So I have a few options at this point. I can rip this out and try the brown, although I don't know if I'd like the brown any better. I think I might like it more if it was a lighter gray, but I don't have that available to me. I don't know if I should go to a shop and try to find a substitute that I could do for this tiny bit. I don't know. The other thing that happens as part of finishing in this pattern is you go all the way across the top here, this top edge, you pick it up and you bind it off. Now many of the stitches are on a folder, and so you're going to have a column all the way across tying all the sections together. So I can't decide. I either could leave this just the way it is and bind off in gray for these stitches, and then I reserved enough yarn to go across the top here and bind them off. It's not enough yarn to do this section here and bind off. I could probably get almost to the end of this section with the yarn that I have, but then what am I going to do? So I could do that and bind it all off in gray, and then have something that ties them all together and have this gray stripe running across the top, which right now I'm somewhat favoring to try to tie it in a little bit. Or I can bind off just this section and do the rest in cream, and so it looks like there's just like a block of gray over here. Can't decide what I'm going to do. So I need to decide this week and bind it off because it's so close, and I'm not ripping this out for that little bit. I'm just not doing it. Overall, the pattern was wonderful. It was well detailed, as all of hers are, and the yarn was a pleasure. It was really lightly plied, and also on the second skein, the first skein of the yarn was pretty consistent. It was nice, and I would say it was a heavy fingering, not really a sport. And when I got to the second skein, there was, I would say, over half of it was quite a bit heavier. So it would go from like, the diameter would change on the yarn. And so they did it by weight. So I think what happened is that I didn't have the approximate yardage as I really thought I did, because the second skein that I used It wasn't necessarily short. It was just that the yarn itself had more diameter. It had the same amount of ounces, but not the same yardage, if that makes sense. So now it kind of leaves me with a little bit of a dilemma, but that's knitting, isn't it? It's my chance to be creative and try to figure out what I would hate worse, less, I guess. Yeah? Yeah. Mm. Moving on. Let's see what I got. At this point, those are the two things I've been actively knitting. And so I'm just going to pull stuff out and see what I got. Ooh. Sorry. I have been knitting arm warmers. These are new, you haven't seen these. And what these are is basically scraps. So I took all of my fingering scraps, and I don't knit socks, so it's not like I have a huge stash of fingering weight yarns leftovers. I don't. So I took what I had, and I have enough to basically make a few different things that I want. I really don't enjoy knitting toys at all. I tried, I guess it was years ago, but I tried to knit 3 or 4 things, and every single time failed miserably. I find them extremely fiddly, and there's so much finishing, which I don't really enjoy finishing. I enjoy the knitting. And so it was doomed. It was doomed every time. So I decided what I was going to do is I was going to do arm warmers, and I basically just reach in and pull out the next color. I picked stuff that was all similar in color. So I'm going to have one arm warmer that's more like muted earthy tones, and then I'm going to have probably a brighter, lighter arm warmer. And I don't want them to match. I want them just to be crazy and different. I wear these a lot at work to type, and I wear them a lot in the fall. I have a lot of winter coats that are warm, but not toasty, I guess is what I would say. A lot of stuff that would be really great if I had long sleeves under it, but my office is hot, and so I don't like to wear those at work. So anyways, I do wear the pair that I knitted myself quite a bit, and I thought, hey, time for the second pair. So this right here is the cuff, and this is hazelnut sock yarn, and then this and this are skein sock yarn. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the colorways, but I don't. So there's those two. And then I had almost enough to finish. I got into the ribbing, and then this is mystery gray yarn. I have no idea. Several years ago, when Wool Girl was going not out of business, but she decided to change the way her business was, she sold big bags of just mix with no tags on them. They lost their tags, or they used half of it for samples, and they were a great price. And so I bought a few of those, and this gray yarn is from one of those, so I don't know what it is. So I decided that I was going to finish the cuff in this light gray yarn, and then I will start the next knit with that light gray yarn, so at least they have something in common. Everything else I've used completely. And so I've been knitting these. These are my take-along knitting. They're very easy and mindless to do in the car or at t-ball game. How am I doing on time? I'm like 10 minutes left, so I'm going to stop with the knitting. There's more knitting to show you, but I want to show you the spinning because I finished some spinning stuff, so I'm going to show you my spinning finished object this week, and then next week I'll show you my knitting finished object. So I was knitting. I was spinning 50% alpaca and 50% silk on my Hanson mini spinner, and I've been spinning that for a year. I am doing a 3-ply, and I find it very difficult to spin. The combination of yak being such a luxury short fiber and the silk being so slick, I'm having an awful time. So one night I sat there and I tried to spin 30 some minutes, and it kept on breaking on me. And at this point, I'm just getting pissed. And I was like, there's no reason for me to do this if I'm not going to enjoy myself. The only reason why I didn't miss it, not the only reason, but the majority of the reason is because I love it. And if I'm not having a good time and I'm not loving it, why am I doing this? So I was like, I need to take a break. I've been working on this project off and on forever, and I've been avoiding my wheel because I don't want to finish it because I'm having such a hard time with it. There's no reason for that. So I decided I was going to come and go through the stash and find something that I would love to spin. So I pulled out some organic merino from 2If by Hand in that Elfie colorway, which is a Hunger Games colorway. So that colorway has lots of very, very short color sections, and so I spun it up, and I love it. I spun this into a 3-ply, and I Navajo plied it to keep the colors together. There are so many colors inside this skein that I didn't want to muddy them up. This camera is not doing a great job of capturing all the different colors, but I love it so much. So I spun this within like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, which for me, for a fingering weight, is like lightning. I am not that fast of a knitter, and I'm not that fast of a spinner. So I was so impressed. So this is the first yarn that I have done completely on my mini spinner, that I spun it and plied it on my mini spinner. And I wanted to show you how well I did on the Navajo plying, because this is only the second thing I've Navajo plied on my mini spinner. So this is unwashed, and it's balanced. I can't believe it. I was so excited. I pulled it off, and I started yelling and jumping up and down, and my husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's perfect. Never happened. So I'm very, very happy with it. It will go in for a wash now that I was able to show you guys. And I have no idea what I'm going to make from it. I think it's probably going to be in between 380 yards and 400 yards. Maybe 420 if I'm lucky. And so, I don't know. Part of me wants to knit socks with it because it's such a color explosion. So if I could show you. But as we all well know, I don't knit socks. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I love it. It was so much fun to knit. The color's changing all the time, and then, you know, wool doing what I wanted to do and not breaking all the time. It kind of happened to be love. It was so much fun. So that's the spinning, and then what have I been spinning since then? So I put this on the wheel, and I have not done much with it, to be quite honest. It's been so hot. I don't know why, but I don't really want to spin. But I am spinning this right now, and my core camera is hideous. Those really light bits, like right here, that's really green, and it's turning it blue. But this is Be Myself, and it is, I think it's Polver. I bought this in a D-stash, and it didn't have a text, and I don't know what colorway it is. Excuse me. Well, my plan is I have 2 bumps of this. One's on the wheel. I would like to spin it to a 2-ply, like, DK-ish weight. So that's going well. Tour de Fleece is coming up, but as always, I will not be participating. Okay. Now I'm going to show you 2 of my new things, and then we'll do announcements, and then about the shop and some cows and some other fun things we have going on, and then we'll get going. And I'll save everything else for next time. So my husband went to Japan. And so he had to go to Japan for a business trip. He was only there for like 3 days. It took 16 hours to fly there, 18 hours. So he was in Japan for 3 days, but traveling for like almost 2. Maybe he was there for 4 days. It was a quick trip to do that kind of flying and also that time change. It's my husband's first time traveling internationally, and I think that he really liked it. And they did get to do a lot of really fun things, which was good. It wasn't all business. So he was in the airport, and he thought he had to get me a gift, which is the sweetest thing. And so this is what he got me. He got me shoes. Sorry, flip-flops. Aren't they cute? And on the side they got bumblebees. I like bumblebees. But what's neat about these is that this right here, sorry, my computer's doing announcements on me. This here and these on the bottom are adjustable, so you can make them more loose if you want to fit your foot. I've tried these on a few times and tried to walk in them, and they are not comfortable. But I'm going to continue to try because my husband bought them for me in Japan, and I kind of feel like a sullen teenager saying that they're not comfortable. I think they're super cute though. He did a good job. He tried. And then what came with that, which he thought was the best ever, was a pair of socks. So they are patterned socks with a contrasting heel, and then a toe separator so I can wear flip-flops. I wear flip-flops a lot. And actually, this last 2 weeks, they've come out at work. Flip-flops were forbidden. Forbidden! And I was pretty bummed about the whole forbidden flip-flop issue, so I really like them. And they have decided that if you're not meeting with clients, you can wear flip-flops. So these might be in my work desk for when I get cold in the winter. But so these are pretty awesome, and I love them. And he also got me a tape measure, but I don't have it up here. So I'm going to show you the last thing that I bought for myself, which is something that's probably going to go in the baby bin, but I really like it. But this is, and by the way, baby bin means that the stuff I knit for babies. My husband has this horrible habit of just telling anybody who says, oh, my daughter's pregnant, or, you know, my cousin's pregnant, and he's like, oh, okay, we'll know something. Or people I've never met, like, he called me one day, and he's like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm in California, and this really nice guy, his wife's pregnant, so I told him you'd knit him something. And I'm like, are you even going to see these people again? So now I just have a baby bin full of presents. Because it works out for me. I learned that from my mom. She makes me so prepared. So I got Lulu the Lamb. This is a Scentsy product. And if you don't know Scentsy, it's a candle fragrance company, but they do these stuffed animals. And I would tell you, these stuffed animals sell out in about 2 weeks from their release date. Now, you can't get this one anymore, but that's a big part of the course of Scentsy. If you see something, you basically have to order it right then if it is a stuffed animal. So this is a Lulu, and I love her. I love her so much that I want to keep her. So cute. So maybe you can see her eyes and everything. She is soft, soft, soft. You need for babies. And then right back here, it's like a hidden compartment. You can kind of, there you go. You can see the zipper if I pull it apart. What you do is you put in a scent packet. I'm keeping the scent packet out just because I don't know who I'm going to give it to, and it's kind of for a baby, and I don't want it to smell. I'm weird about stuff like that. But me and fragrances don't get along. But anyways, it's so cute. I love it so much. I have another one that I bought for that baby bin too, and I'll show you that next week. But it's so soft, and it's a little lamb. It's a lamb. So I love it. Probably will see more of those in my future. They're reasonably priced, and they're a good gift. And the fact that you can't get it also means that no one else is going to have it when you give a gift. I hate that when you give somebody a gift and then they open another gift 2 gifts later and they get the same thing. It's a total bummer for everybody. Okay, so announcements. What's been going on with Indie String and the shop? It's summertime, and so we haven't updated on Thursdays. And we're going to kind of go on a summer hiatus for a little bit, just of updating. Everything's going to else is going to be there. But we also decided that it's July. It's July. And what happens in July? It's Christmas in July. So last year we did that great cal with Christmas in July where you had um, entries for every single thing that you knit. You know, it's got to be a gift. However, you could tell me you were gifting it to yourself. I'm going to be pretty lax on that because I think if you knit something, you knit something. And please encourage everybody to participate. We'll have some prizes. I know we're going to at least have one pattern giveaway, which I'll sponsor, and then I'll sponsor the second prize as well, which will be a present. It's going to be a surprise prize. Since we're having Christmas in July, I think that somebody, whoever should win, should get a surprise Christmas present early. And so I'll be putting together a surprise package for you and mailing it to you. That could mean that if you're a spinner, maybe it's going to have, some hard to find or you're not able to get it anymore fiber or an exclusive colorway, or if you're a knitter, we're going to have trinkets and binks and bobbins and all of that good stuff for you guys, and it's going to be a great, great gift. Because you know what? I don't think we gift each other enough or ourselves. So let's do Christmas in July. We're going to have a coupon going on in the shop as well. I'll put that up for you, probably in the Ravelry group, and then I will announce it on the podcast next week. I haven't decided what that's going to be. And what we'll do is, if you knit a gift with Indie String yarn for this cal, you'll get a double entry for every single completed item. Now, that does not necessarily mean that you can't knit more than one thing per skein, but you must knit 50% of the skein for it to count. So if I have to be at least 100 yards to get an entry. So for the Indie String yarn. So what I'm just trying to avoid a little bit, the only real rule I'm going to have is that I don't want you to knit 5 little bookmarks with Indie String yarn and then get 10 entries. So let's try to keep it fair and keep it fair for everybody. I don't care if you double, triple dip. Go out and find other cals, participate, and leverage your knitting to win prizes. And I hope you guys will all join me. I need a kick in the butt for Christmas knitting. I hate to think that Christmas is right around the corner, but the older I get, I swear, time melts away. And I know that Christmas will be here before I know it. So I am going to start for our cal a brand new project, and hopefully also finish one for next week. But as part of the Christmas in July cal, number 2, can't believe I'm doing another cal. Like when I did the cals last year, I was like, this is probably the only time I'll do a cal. But now it's coming around, dude. It's coming back around. So I am going to knit my daughter a sweater. And I have actually had yarn to knit my daughter a sweater since she was 4, 6. And I've never done it. Partially because my daughter is a hot box, but I feel like with school, she needs more layers. A lot of times they go outside, rain or shine, in the winter, so it doesn't matter how cold it is. Where at daycare, if it was cold, they would keep them inside all day, and they don't do that at our school. I like that philosophy. I like that they make the kids get outside. And so I figured, well, what we're going to do is knit you a sweater for Christmas. So I've had this yarn and I'm getting rid of old stash, 6 years at least, maybe 7. I probably bought it when I was pregnant. Woo. And this is Madeline Tosh Vintage. This is right when Vintage came out, is when I bought this. It's 200 yards, each skein of a worsted weight, and this is called Dusk, which is like a brownie pink color. So I am going to knit a sweater for my daughter as one of my first things that I knit for this cal, and hopefully I can get through more. This cal will run the length of July and August. I always like to do longer cals. I know some people don't agree with that. You like it short and sweet. But I think maybe in the end of July, what we'll do is for the July entry, we will draw for one pattern. And then in August, we'll draw for, at the end of August, beginning of September, we'll draw for one more pattern and for the grand prize. So, start knitting, clacking those needles, and get them away. It doesn't have to be started before the cal. It just needs to be finished between July 1st and August 31st to submit. I will start a discussion thread in the group. Please come over and chit chat and tell us what you're going to be knitting. And then I will also start a FO thread. And hopefully you guys come over and join us. It should be a great time and full of surprises and just happiness. Because that's what knitting is. And at least it is for me, you guys. So please come over and join us on the Ravelry group and friend me on any kind of social media. As always, stop by the Indie String Shop, see all the new colors we have. We also have rockin' bags that are gigantic. I love them, and I think they're pretty spectacular. You guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you here next week to knit with a lot of love. Bye, you guys.